Good afternoon and welcome to this edition of the SME Connect. My name is Tony Otoa, your host, and we're taking you on a very interesting journey where we discuss SME issues, business issues, issues that pertain or affect your normal business, your normal SME guy. With me today is a very interesting guest who I will introduce to you very shortly. But before I begin, I must say that there's some things that are important for us to take note of. This show happens every Thursday at 4 p.m. on Urban TV. And also, you can engage with this show on our social media channels, Facebook, go to SME Connect, and on Twitter, Comrade Otoa, and of course on YouTube, SME Connect. So, this is going to be a very interesting one. With me is Dr. Robert Mwesigwa. Dr. Robert Mwesigwa is an entrepreneur, a man who has done so many things in his realm. He's going to tell us more about what he does, but Doctor, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tony.
So, Doctor, first tell us about you. Who is Dr. Robert Mwesigwa?
My name is again Robert Mwesigwa. I am an entrepreneur. I do my background. I've been doing business consultancies in procurement, auditing, both pre-audit and post-audit, and training in procurement for many years. Beyond that, I'm engaged in real estate, I'm engaged in ecotourism, and also I appreciate and I enjoy training in entrepreneurship.
And you're also the honorable, you call it honorary council of the Republic of Morocco, right?
Yes, I have 2 or 3 other jackets.
Right.
I happen to be the honorary council of the Kingdom of Morocco in Uganda.
Right, Kingdom of Morocco, that's
I am also a member of the International Chamber of Commerce. We sit in Paris.
Yes.
And this is a chamber of commerce that...
And you were voted into that position recently. Congratulations.
Last year in December.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
And also locally, I also represent, I'm the national chairperson of Entrepreneurs League of NRM in Uganda.
Absolutely.
Therefore, a member of the Central Executive Committee of NRM.
Absolutely. Very interesting portfolio you have there. So, you know, you've been a guy who's been in business for quite some time. You've talked about being in the procurement space for some time. How has it been for you running a business or growing a business? And again, I don't want you to tell me the good parts of your business. Tell me where you have seen yourself failing and how you've made things happen in the end.
It is, thank you, Tony. It is challenging, but also you appreciate it.
Right.
But the most important thing of all is the networking and information. Through networking, you get a lot of information.
Right.
We have, in my mother language, we say, I will interpret it, that a child who doesn't go outside their homestead thinks the mother is the best cook.
The best cook. Absolutely.
And that's the biggest challenge we have in our
country. I think we have the same, I think, also in my language. I don't know if it's there, but I've had that as well before. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have a big challenge in our societies or in our country.
Okay.
People who don't get that exposure, that kind of network beyond your own homestead, you will never develop, you will never know outside opportunities, and in the process, you will never change your mindset.
Right.
So which brings us to the biggest challenge of mindset.
Right. So before we get into mindset, which is quite an interesting one, the issue of not knowing, the issue of lack of information is one of the biggest challenges. I've just been moderating an oil and gas conference, and one of the biggest challenges for most Ugandan businesses, and the reason why many of them failed to get involved in the oil and gas space, was because of lack of information. How do you incentivize a business to step out of its comfort zone to go out looking for this information?
Thank you. That's the biggest challenge we have, and I can only attempt to answer it.
Right.
You know, just for example, if you ask any moderate Ugandan, be educated, be medium class, rich class, which persons have traveled, invested in their money to go to the area called Kisotonya to see what is happening in oil and gas?
Absolutely.
Just as an example.
Absolutely. Many will only read in the papers.
And they know about oil and gas.
Absolutely.
And they listen maybe to the leaders, President Museveni, talking about oil and gas.
Absolutely.
And that is part of our laziness in the body, in the mind.
Absolutely.
However, you will find a foreigner. Foreigner will come in here for a week.
Flies in.
They have all the data of what happens there, and they've been there. Beyond that, even if you have not traveled there, have you Googled to know? Do you take interest? Yesterday, there were many articles about the pipeline.
Yes.
Which people have read about that.
Yes.
But check about gossip. Our people will be informed more on gossip than on what is happening in oil and gas.
They actually say fake funny news or gossip can travel faster before the truth has put on its shoes.
Tony, it is you and I, especially the media.
Yeah.
It's a combination of many people who should play into our society to change their mindset.
Right.
It's like what the Bible says, that they do things which they're not supposed to do, and they leave undone those they ought
to have done.
Absolutely,
yes. Absolutely. Now let's just go back to the issue of mindset. But I really like the idea of research. You know, let me just probably go back to it before we leave it. You know, you've just hinted on the fact that very few Ugandans have invested in traveling to Kaisotonia, for instance, in Hoima, to see what is happening. And I'll also shock you, by the way, the people in Hoima itself have not probably done the same. And this actually epitomizes our mentality, where it's just all about, you know, let me see if Dr. Robert is doing it. If it's working, then I will also jump on it, you know, which is a very dangerous way of doing things. But anyway, let's just move to mindset, because mindset will actually probably bring this out more. What is the issue about mindset that is really pivotal for a business person? Because you see, mindset is something that not many businesses have really taken into consideration, you know. Most businesses are copy and paste. It's not really about the mindset of the entrepreneur. What is it about mindset that you have seen in your experience as an entrepreneur?
I cannot attempt to answer it. It is so deep that it has a historical issue, it has an educational issue, it has a family issue, it has a society issue. And I wouldn't want to go maybe about colonization and you know, colonialism.
But it's inevitable.
It has many factors in there.
Absolutely.
You go to school, you are trained to copy and paste in order for you to pass. You're not trained to use your brains the way you want in order for someone to achieve what you are good at.
Absolutely.
That's the first stage. At home, it's the same story. You are taught to be number one. You are taught to go and get a degree, up to the level of a degree. And this I'm talking about in most cases.
It is true.
It's very rare.
Absolutely.
Where you find families which are different. Apart from Indian families, for example, or Orientals.
Absolutely.
You are taught you must get a degree. What degree? That's secondary. But you must be a graduate, like our neighbor's family, like the other relative. Now, you grow up, your target is being a graduate. But you don't grow up as Tony's skill, which are God-given. Training or developing Tony's natural skill.
You know, just park it there. Because, you know, again, back into this oil and gas space, which I'm very familiar with, when you look at the manpower demand, you will see that 1% are your guys with the degrees, you know, the people you're talking about right now. You know, they go to university, get a degree. 60% of the manpower needed are your artisans, your craftsmen, your plumbers, your bricklayers, your masons. And interestingly, society, like you've said, taught us to see these as bad jobs or bad kind of things to go to. When someone talks of going to a technical institution, he hasn't gone to school, you know.
That's right.
A guy who has gone to university is a guy who has gone to school.
Yes.
I think that's kind of right.
I appreciate your analysis. And the way we would close that is now to talk about these youth, who are almost 70% of our population. They're vulnerable. And when you talk about youth, we have three types of youth. We have youth who are educated but underemployed. We have youth who are educated but not employed. We have youth who are not educated and not employed.
Wow.
The three categories. But with the skilling, with the job opportunities in the oil and the gas, it would be now the leadership to guide and close that gap. To bring this 70% or 8% of our population, who are the youth with their characteristics, energetic, ready to work 24/7, and skill them to close that gap. This would be a strategic intervention.
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely. A lot of the time as well, a lot of these young people probably do not also know what's going on. Most of the discussions have been, have alienated them from the scene. Many of them are not very focused or part of this discussion on, for instance, job creation. And yet we go around talking about job creation for the young people. And I think that's something that we can touch on later. But let me just now drift you now to your other area, the chamber. Your chamber has brought businesses together to develop or to strategize or to network together or to even lobby for, the members. What more, or tell me more about your chamber?
The chamber is a young chamber.
Right.
It's called the Uganda Chamber of Trade and Investment.
Okay.
As it was still young, it happened to be that they needed more members of the International Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
And I also applied.
Okay.
And I was lucky, I was voted in. We are 40 members, we sit in Paris.
Okay.
However, back to our Ugandan setup.
Yeah.
When you see for example, our entrepreneurship, our trade, there's a very big gap about businesses in this country. You find importers, say, for example, sugar importers, they suffer on their own with challenges of taxes, in challenges of importing sugar. They have to go to Ministry of Trade to lobby on their own. You find Casita on their own. You find coffee exporters on their own. We are trying to say, how do we bring these groups together? To have one voice. This is one of the objectives.
Okay. Okay.
Secondly, how do you categorize the different levels of entrepreneurship?
Right.
There are big boys, there are medium ones, and the small scale. Knowing the big boys, in most cases, are the ones in the round tables.
Yes.
Those they have played
They
a very good
only
part
deal with issues which are pertaining to them.
to them. But the majority of Ugandans who are also trying to attempt to do some businesses are in the dark. The chamber is trying to solve that. We're opening up regional offices. We're opening up regional membership.
Absolutely.
In order to close that gap.
Okay. Okay.
Third,
yeah.
is about skilling,
I was just going to ask that.
which
yeah.
also answers the mindset. Unless
Absolutely.
you bridge the gap of these traders in whatever level they are in, for them to be informed, for them to be in the know that there's a place called Kisotonya whose future is going to turn around Uganda, and you need to be part and parcel of that future. This is basically the core.
I think that's quite interesting because you really tap on so many things. Most important of all, again, that channeling of information. You, the chamber, being a vessel of that information. When you tell many Ugandans that, for instance, the oil and gas sector is a sector that accommodates or can accommodate all other subsectors or so many subsectors, many people don't see that connection. And I think you've clearly stressed that area or that avenue that the chamber does. But now, with the chamber, the last 8 months have been terrible. I mean, if I think about COVID has wreaked havoc all over the world. We have the airport that is potentially opening in a few days' time, and probably business will get back to normal. But how has the chamber been around this area, or how has the chamber dealt with this discourse on COVID, the pandemic, and as a way for survival, especially for the members?
Thank you, Tony. As a chamber, as I've said, it's still young here locally.
Yeah.
But however, with our partnership with the ICC, we've been in touch with them. And we are doing research of what challenges, like in the Ugandan community, the traders have faced, in order for them to see how they can close that gap through cheap financing, through different kind of skilling, in terms of how do you overcome these challenges which have come up. As I say, as entrepreneurs, any problem that comes
is an opportunity.
It can be an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is how we've been intervening, especially through online discussions, conferences, and we're now gathering information of the challenges we've got from here in order for us, all of us, to discuss it and see what solutions we can have.
Okay,
yes.
But I mean, also when you look at business survival, how is your membership surviving? Are they doing well? I mean, are people making money? Are you some of the people who have made crazy money in the COVID period? There are some people who have been considered COVID-preneurs who have made so much money.
The interesting part, I, for one, as part of the chamber, I put up a factory for masks.
Oh, really?
It's the only factory running in Western Uganda.
So you jumped on the opportunity?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's great.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm a player in the COVID pandemic.
Yes.
Yes. In terms of businesses. Yes.
But that is quite interesting because, again, that's now you being prepared for that opportunity, you know, preparedness meeting opportunity.
Yes.
But now, for many entrepreneurs, young people, now let's just go back to the youth, yeah? Let's just come back again to the youth. How do they prepare? How are they supposed to prepare? You have been a good businessman for some time. How did you prepare for the young guys who are probably watching this? How can they prepare?
You know, there are three words I always talk about, and which I've actually learned from our president, which he uses: the what, the how, and the who. Unless you define what do you want to do,
Absolutely.
and understand it, and commit to that. The second one, how do you want to do it? Understand it and commit to that. And then you come, who is going to do it? And that is you. Those three words are very important for the youth to understand. Don't jump that Tony is doing this, you're also doing that. The next day you've collapsed and you're coming for something else. Take your time to know what you want to do, how you want to do it, and then the who is doing it.
Which just goes back into the major aspect of research.
Basically.
Research, because if you do not research your business or the area you want to get into, you're just jumping into a crazy
we
area.
live in the fourth industrial revolution.
Internet and everything.
Internet is there. People have done it before. You don't have to rethink. Just put in time, read the books, go in the internet, interview different people who are involved in it, and get to know what you want to do and how you can do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes. But also, I think also probably what I could also seek from you, especially for the young people, is the attitude or the need for mentorship. You know, people like you who've walked the journey. You have fallen. I mean, you've fallen several times. You've stood up. You've fallen. You can advise young people, people like you, on you can advise young people on the journey that they can take without getting into the long routes that they might not find very conducive. But also, for the chamber, could you consider this as a way of mentoring young businesses, not just for the ones that are fully set up, but the ones that are young?
Absolutely. You've talked about an interesting point, mentorship.
Yeah.
Of course, we have challenges now because we don't have time for these young people. I, for myself, I get messages, I get phone calls of young people who adore me.
Yes.
And I even
and
get
they just
shy
want
about
mentorship.
it. And they say they want mentorship.
Yes.
And sometimes you don't get time for them, which is not good. And I admit.
Absolutely.
However, as a chamber,
Yeah.
we are trying to encourage one important idea of internship, and especially from different businesses.
Okay.
If you have an opportunity, when these youth are in their holidays, employ them at no salary, as long as you can give them transport to come and work and go back home.
Meals,
and maybe even if they're working half a day.
Absolutely.
And if all our entrepreneurs were doing that, but it's also a challenge to us as a chamber to bring on board these different businesses to employ these young people. The experience they get. I, for one, I had that opportunity when I was young. I used to work for different organizations, which was very rare. Not many people would do it. So it helps the youth of office politics, office administration, the idea of waking up, going to work, and coming back home. You know, that's one way.
Responsibility also comes into play.
That you as a young person, you must look forward, waking up, dressing up, beyond school, going to work, see how people work, how you entertain people, how you talk to bosses, you know, that kind of thing. How you listen, how you go for interviews. This leadership, and we don't have it. And it's not only for private, even the government should do it.
Absolutely.
It should be both private and public.
Absolutely. Yes. So I'll tell you one of the tricks that we have actually mastered here. I don't know if you know, but the Business Incubators programs are free of charge. And because they're free of charge to the businesses, what we try to do or incentivize the businesses to do is to employ or take on board at least 1 or 2 young people, some graduates, as a form of internship. And if they perform well, they can retain them. That way we are creating this whole story of employment for the young people, but also utilizing the manpower that is available for these businesses to grow. But now, that aside, I just want now to get now to another personal part of things. What has been your success strategy?
Hard work, commitment.
Yeah.
As I said, the what, the how, and then the me.
Yes.
Who is the who?
Yes.
Whatever you decide to do, do it with all your heart. be informed about it. You might fail for some time.
Which is okay.
You might come up and fail again, but keep going. What is important is commitment.
Keep going, yes, yes.
And beyond that, be honest, both to yourself and the people you're working with.
Yes.
There shall be many challenges from both external and internal. Those you shall get anyway.
Anyway, yeah.
It is how you come out of them that makes you succeed.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
that's how we've survived to reach where we are.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're still continuing.
Which brings me now to another interesting one, because you've diversified your business portfolio. You're into tourism. You've just talked about real estate as well. How do you manage to juggle these entities? You know, many young people are struggling with just one entity. How are you managing all these different entities? How do you, I mean, back now to the who. How are you doing it?
It's basically putting in structures. What is important? Putting in structures.
You don't have this one-man syndrome where you are in charge of everything and...
Not really. For now, I'm even diverting completely to partially to politics.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I also want to bring, to make sure the private sector is involved in policies.
Absolutely.
Which
Absolutely.
I've seen as a gap.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But I do it because I have structures. You don't have to be everywhere. Someone else can do it. And the right person. And the point I'm talking about now, I go also to politics in order to bridge the gap on policies. How do you entrust one arm of government to talk about business or entrepreneurship when most of them are not conversant with that subject?
Entrepreneurship, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. I think it only takes a cook to go in and deliberate on food matters as compared to a guy who doesn't even know what a kitchen looks like.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yes.
I absolutely like that. Absolutely like that. So it's about structures, and it's also about getting the right personnel and trusting them.
And trusting them.
Trusting them to run it, because there's one thing of you having your work on the other side, but your heart still stuck here, because you don't trust whoever is.
And that trust also is a big challenge in our communities.
It is.
In
it
our
is.
society.
It is. But how do you deal with the issue of trust?
Over time,
Yeah.
like for example, like procurement auditing, which we're involved in, you'd find we had contracts in many countries, but you employ people, they start their own small companies, and then you find you are paying them, but they are doing their work. But eventually, when you get the experience, you now encourage them to start their businesses, and you subcontract them, which is basically outsourcing. I've trained you, Tony. You're a specialist in this. Now I work with you on a consultancy basis. So I don't have to go into administrative issues.
Absolutely.
I only come to you for work and then your payment. It makes work much easier for me. Yes. And I used to doubt this. You would find international companies not wanting to be involved in petty things like buying vehicles and doing what. And at times in the early 2000, I would say, but you're wasting money.
Yeah.
They said, no, that's not our core business.
Absolutely.
Our core business is this. Let us hire. We don't want, in case a car gets an accident, it's not our responsibility.
Yeah, we're not liable.
This is one way of also minimizing administrative issues, and you concentrate on your core business.
You know, that is something that a lot of young people or businesses have never understood. You want to be in all areas. You have this company, you want to manage all areas, including the kitchen. Including the kitchen. You want to cook for yourself as well. No. Saving, sometimes saving is a massive loss to you without knowing.
Exactly.
You think you're saving, but you're actually making lots of losses. So I think that's what's very key. It's important to hire the best. It's important to deal with the best.
Yes.
It saves you so much,
Yes.
in the long run.
Yes.
And I think that's something that's really, really key.
I experienced it at one time. I had in my office, I had maybe over 70 people. You'd find you're spending more time in administration of the human resource. I am going for a function, I have a wedding, I have lost a relative, I have done what, my car has been knocked. Now, the moment we downsized and started, outsourcing, we didn't want any more people. You find a maximum, not more than 10 people at the office. And work is
Absolutely.
going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's just a new way of doing
And
things.
it also develops those people into owning their own companies to do the work.
Indeed.
Yes.
You know, absolutely. And again, when you talk about the new normal, for many businesses, I think the new normal is going to be very much about, you know, lean working as a way of surviving, but also outsourcing as much as you can. But again, the beauty of outsourcing, if you look at it, is it gives a lot of opportunity to people out there to do so much. One person who you're hiring for a crazy amount of money to do, say, communication, for instance, you can outsource that to a company that will hire 4 people to handle your handle your contract, you know? And that's a lot of young people involved in that.
And that person will also employ others
Absolutely.
in that small company.
Yeah.
And becomes a chain.
Yeah.
And of course, as what you're saying, now COVID has even fast-tracked that you even don't have to be in an office.
Yes.
That you can be at home, on Zoom, working,
Absolutely.
communicating the whole world. And I mean, I'm not, it was terrible for COVID and it's still bad.
Yeah.
But there are some good things which come out of it.
Of course, like any crisis.
Our mindset,
Yeah.
you know, wouldn't have been
Yeah.
quickly changed
Yeah.
or adjusted had it not been for COVID.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Which now gets me to one of our final takes now. You know, businesses are going to start opening up. Lockdown has been eased as much as possible. Businesses are going to start coming back to life. What would be your advice to lots of businesses as they try to struggle and get out of that, you know, riff-raff situation to become visible?
I have just one strong word or statement. Let us be frugal. It is not business as usual.
Yeah.
The kind of holidays, luxurious things,
Yeah.
it is real. There are challenges in businesses, in trade. Save as much as you can.
Hold tight.
Hold tight. If you are renting somewhere, if possible, adjust it or share with someone else. Or if possible, work from home.
Yeah.
Because one, COVID is still on. And at the same time, if you can do business on Zoom, online, better. But the principle, be frugal. Save as much as possible. It will take us another minimum 2 to 3 years for us to start thinking of holidays.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. You know, you mentioned actually a very important point. Being frugal, holding tight, saving as much as you can, which brings into perspective the idea of, you know, how to manage your cash flow. Because again, cash flow is distorted for many businesses. You know, you have money coming in, but you're digging from your business pocket to go on a holiday. You're digging from your business pocket to have a flashy wedding, you know. I think this is going to be something that is going to be very important for businesses, being very frugal and monitoring how your business runs. But let's say COVID is here for another 2 years. Do we have to maintain our lives in such a way that we do not move on? How do we adapt? How do we develop beyond that?
Of course, Tony, the interesting part is moving on to what? Where we were or something new?
Yeah.
Now, weddings have been taking place.
Yes.
The other day, the son or daughter of the archbishop, the whole archbishop, they had not more than 20 people. This is a whole archbishop.
Yes.
But they are wedded.
Yes.
With whatever small amounts of monies they put in. Can't we also learn from that? Can't we change our mindset?
Absolutely.
That you don't have to call the whole extended villages.
Absolutely.
That's one.
Absolutely.
Secondly, yes, we can also say that we are still human. We want to be on holiday. Yes, let us go on holiday. But we do domestic tourism. I don't have to go to Dubai. I don't have to go to America. I don't have to go to Thailand. Go to Mweya. Go to Chove. Go to Kidepo. We have check our environment.
Amazing, beautiful.
Our mindset should be changed to support ourselves. Let us encourage domestic tourism. So because, Tony, you are a hard-working person. Yeah. You need also holiday as a human being.
Absolutely.
Take it.
Absolutely.
But go to Mweya. Don't go to Buja Arab in Dubai, where you're going to spend more. Where you have to travel with all those travel challenges. Yeah. You drive your car, go to Mweya. It's much cheaper. Your family will enjoy. So we should also encourage our people Not relax that you can't go on holiday. Go on holiday.
Appreciate what is here right now. The local is cheaper. And,
yes.
But just to end this, one final question on innovation. How are you innovating as a business, as a person? How are you innovating in lieu of all of these new developments?
Innovation, again, zeroes on one point which we have shared with you.
Yeah.
Research. Read as much as you can.
Yes.
Be informed on what is going on. Check what are the needs in the oil and gas pipeline going to Tanzania.
Okay.
Fix yourself where you can also have an opportunity in getting an income. Because the bottom line, all of us, we must have one important thing: income security. The moment you don't have income security, then we are doomed.
Absolutely.
Tony.
This has been a very, very interesting afternoon with Dr. Robert Mwesigwa. Very interesting conversations on entrepreneurship. Very ideal for a lot of you young people who are trying to get into business and into the business world. I would like to thank all of you who've been able to watch us on SME Connect, on Urban TV, on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course on Twitter. Until next week, thank you very much. My name is Tony Otoa, and I've been your host. I look forward to seeing you again next week.